forget. Because we're going to probably get to work soon. Live on YouTube. Only issue with that would be if the core audience is too small to make it profitable. I think the thing is, I think there is a core audience there because you have a lot of people that want to play a game like Dark and Darker or something like that. But that's not like PvP, and this would be just full-on PvE. Maybe not as slow as Dark and Darker. It kind of leans a little bit into a faster direction. And we could always balance that, you know? We could always balance all of that. Yeah. But then comes the scope. Then comes the scoop. But yeah, Bill, I'm thinking in terms of abilities and stuff like that. This stuff here, abilities, slash spells or whatever, this would all be things that you would like unlock permanently rather than like you getting in a run. I think this would be like your loadout. You would select your loadout and this would be the things that you would select. That's what I'm thinking here. It would be really cool. Here's something I have in my head. If we did the structure where we have a lot of smaller, like much smaller count of floors, and we do that idea where it's like every 12 or 24 hours, the tower has a different seed for all of the players. What we could do is make it so some elements or some enemy types appear and some of them don't appear at all in that entire tower. That could be interesting because then we can make it so the player's loadout might not always be the most optimal loadout, if that makes sense. Like maybe some enemies are weak to crush or something like that, a crush melee type. You know, maybe some of them are only weak to like fire spells. And then that way we could solve that one problem that happens with a lot of roguelites where people pick the biggest meta build and then they only stick with that the entire game. Crush stab slash, I'm not thinking about RuneScape. No, I'm not thinking about RuneScape. I'm not thinking about RuneScape. I'm not thinking about... You're golden. That could be kind of cool. That could be really cool. My only issue with that, I guess, could be the fact that I don't know. I guess you would still deal damage to enemies. It's just some enemies would be weaker to certain attack types. Time locking can get dicey sometimes. It can. I think the thing is you would still deal damage to the enemies. It's just you can deal more critical damage using different weapon types. And then, of course, if you only go full-on fire for all of your abilities, let's say there's 8 floors, you know, there's certainly some enemies in there that'll be weak to it, but some players might find, oh, hey, in 4 of these floors, there's some really fire weak enemies, you know, or some shit like that, if that makes sense. That could be interesting, and that could lower the scope a little bit. But then how do we do stats? Still. Could be another game mode, dailies, perhaps. But then at that point, I'd rather just focus in one direction if I can. I kind of want the core game to be that. I know that's really risky, but there are quite a few games that are starting to do that, and they seem to work really well. They might not vibe with some people, right? But I kind of like it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe we can figure out how to do a scope control there. I don't know. I think if we did the 8-level structure, I guess we would still go kind of like equipment item structure. And then it would really lean into what I want to learn for the zombie game, which is like we have the different seeds and then items are randomized, but every player has the same items that they can get. But then how would that work? Like, let's say you get an item and then you extract in quotation marks. Would that item just reappear there? Or would it just not appear there? That item's just gone. That chest is already opened. You've already gotten that chest. That could be interesting. It's like Scrandle, but an entire ass video game. Scrandle, but like it's a dull, but a whole ass like roguelite RPG almost. Yeah, doing my dailies. Someone told me there's a fire weapon over here. I don't know. There's so many different directions we can take this because I'm still like in the unknown of what I want to do with this with the game. I'm still kind of I'm lost. But I think the 100 floor idea, we should probably scrap the 100 floor idea and just restructure that. Because I think the 100 floor idea, while it sounds really cool, oh, you go through 100 floors and then you like get shortcuts and it becomes a Souls-like almost. Kind of, not really, but kind of. Sort of Metroidvania Souls-like, but then the problem is like, who the fuck's gonna make those 100 floors? Who the hell is gonna make those 100 floors? Someone's got to design those and... So, maybe less is more in this situation. Time to start that game design document, 5,000 words minimum. Now, I don't really know if a game design document, like, helps all that much. I think it's just, like, okay, think of a feature list, and then, like, does it work towards an experience that we want for the player, and then, okay, go from there. And then go from there. I finally got around to playing Returnal. Really liked how they keep those items behind bosses. It makes going back in to try and push further exciting. Gain access to new areas that have more tools in your arsenal. Yeah, I don't know. Have you thought about having augments to your weapon instead of just having items? I think that's one of the things Bill's talking about. That's kind of similar to how Returnal does it. They're almost like augments. I don't know if I want to do augments. Like, it might be easier to do. But I don't know if I want to go down the augment path. Is there a way you could design a few floors and randomly generate them to make them look different enough for 100 floors? That's like how I'm picturing how I would go about it to an extent. Is I would pick between 30 handmade kind of base themes, and then we would generate stuff using materials and PCG and whatnot on top of it procedurally to change like the themes for each like thing. I think my problem with that is I feel like people are going to start noticing that, and then at that point we need to like put in more, and it's just not enough. And I think then we lean too much into the PCG, and that might not work too well. You know, is it going to be currency? I'm thinking there'd be currency like gold. I'm dealing with a headache with my laptop. Oh man, computer problems. I wish you the best, Golden. Hopefully you figure it out. Computer problems, puking, mental puking. Yeah, I want to have like a currency. I think that would be cool. I don't know if the currency would only be in the run or if there'd be like a currency outside of the run. You know, that's like where we would figure out those things. How about gold in the run and then silver for outside? Maybe that could kind of work. It's not Megabonk! It's not Megabonk! It's not! It's been crashing constantly. Make sure it's not overheating. Could be overheating. Could be your battery. Could be something else there. Make sure your battery's not turning into a pillow. Or whatever they call it when your battery starts expanding. I don't know when a computer stops working when a battery starts expanding. Game Freak just suffered a massive leak, so we know every game they have planned for the next 5 years. How many games do they have on their docket for the next 5 years? Don't say 5. Please don't say 5. Please don't say more than 5. 7? 7 games in 5 years? They're thinking like indie devs. Wait, no, that's not true, actually. Call of Duty does the exact same thing. Don't they release like a game every year? That's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Oh, man. Oh, God. Man, I really want to tell people that they are mentally deficient on Twitter. But then I remember, you know what? Maybe it's not worth it. You know what? Maybe it's not worth it. Someone was like, some random person quote tweeted my thing about John Nanite maliciously copyright striking videos, and then some person was like trying to defend them, and then they're like, you know what, actually you're kind of making them sound more based than they are. You're on Twitter, that's why? True, actually, true. The trick to John Nanite is to just stop talking about John Nanite. Give him a completely secondary name. People get confused. Who's that? Well, it's John Nanite. I don't know who. It's John Nanite. We don't talk about his actual name because then that gives them attention. It's just John Nanite. Mr. Juan Nanite. Okay, man. I gotta figure out. Forgot his real name. His real name is John Nanite. We gotta figure this out now. What is this YouTube link? Oh, yeah. I saw this. The Road to Vostok video. Very cool, man. Very cool. I hope Road to Vostok does well. I hope it does well. I did. I watched it earlier. I watched it earlier today. I hope his release goes well. I really do. I hope his release goes well. I have not played any of the demos. I haven't like played any of it, any of the games or anything. I've literally not. I love his hideout structure though. I love this stuff that he has for the hideout. I think this is really cool. I would love to do a little bit of something like this for the zombie game. I think that'd be a really cool element, is being like able to customize your hideout to this extent. It's sick. Tried replacing the thermal paste and it didn't fix it? I don't know, man. Tried consulting an exorcist to exercise your computer. And I'm not talking exercises and make it lift weights. I'm talking exercises and like remove demons from the inside of it. A hideout, like a base of operations. It's one word, hideout. I don't know. I don't know where to bring the game. I don't know where to... I want to figure this out now, and I want to just make a decision on it. Because otherwise, we're going to be kind of like working on these like core stuff, and then not take into account the other things that we need, or might need. And I kind of want to figure that out from a scope standpoint of like, what direction do we want to take it? And it's been kind of like the unknown question to answer. What are the options? Let's write them down at the bottom. Let's do it. Scope / experience directions. Talk to Asus because it's still under warranty. Now I have to take the laptop in for servicing. Yeah, if you have the warranty, I would say just go for it. Because if they try to fix it and it's still having issues, then you could, I don't know, maybe get a replacement or something. I don't fucking know. I don't have a laptop, so I don't know how that goes. First option is the Risk of Rain item structure. Leans into faster paced gameplay. Leans into faster paced gameplay that might conflict with the first person action structure. It leans into faster-paced gameplay that might conflict with the first-person action structure, but the items could be balanced to fit the more methodical gameplay. Okay, so we got that one. Number 2 is the dark and darker equipment structure. Leans into slower gameplay with more methodical decision making, including an entire equipment system that would increase the player's stats. Leans into faster-paced gameplay, might conflict with the first-person action structure. The items can be balanced to fit the more methodical gameplay. Leans into slower gameplay with a more methodical decision making, including an entire equipment system that would increase the player's stats. Okie dokie. 3 mega bonk. No, the third one would be no items structure. Or let's do a more loadout or permanent upgrade system rather than items in a run, making it so the player's power is more dependent on their skills rather than a power curve over the duration of a run. Now, I don't know if I like this one, but it does decrease our scope a little bit. Good, hard to port. And Zent, how's it going? How's game dev going? It's going okay. We're just making a very important decision right now, which is how do we approach the game design of this? How do we approach the game design of this? Which is a pretty massive decision to figure out, and could change the scope of the entire game and kind of the direction and the experience, right? The overall experience is also a big one. Like, what is the game? Like, what is the pitch? What's the hook, right? All of these could almost define the hook of the game in different ways. The hook. Yeah. Hope the break was good. Yeah, it was good. It was a nice little break away from development for a bit. I kind of, when I got back, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Where the hell am I? But other than that, yeah. Where the fuck I am, I say, as I try to figure out where the game design is. In a space in the market. Right. At the end of the day, I want to come up with something that's really fun. Fun or engaging. Something that fits an experience, does it well. B, I want it to perform well from a monetary standpoint, obviously. That's very important. I would like to keep buying food and pay rent. The ideally, that'd be nice. And because, you know, games, you take years to fucking make something. Definitely don't want to waste that time. Third is, which kind of leans with the second point, it's got to fit like something in the market. It's got to fit something that I want to do with it, I guess. I made some more animations. Hey, nice, man. Hell yeah, brother. Where'd you get the inspiration for that one, huh? Where'd you get the... Game design is the third door to the left. Where is that door? Because I fucking need it. Where's that door? I need that door. I forgot to ask, have you tried Elderborn? Elderborn. Is there old people in it? Elderborn. No, I've not. I've not. It's Dragonborns for elders. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, okay. I have not. I'm a little confused as to what it is. I feel like I recognize that attack animation. Oh yeah, it kind of leans into, yeah, you know what? Actually, I might have seen this game actually at some point. The kicking and stuff. Souls-like / RPG character progression. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the graphics. The graphics look very dated. It's very dated, and not in a good way. Like, there's like specularity everywhere. There's so many high-octane roguelites that a slow, methodical one would be a nice change of pace and maybe get new people to try roguelite. It's true. And also, I think there was like a video. There was like a video documentary, you know, like every fucking YouTuber makes. talking about a lot of the most popular games right now are, or like in the indie space, some of the more successful games are leaning into slower paced kind of stuff, not like super fast paced constantly. Which makes me wonder, you know, can we kind of do something that isn't like super fast paced, even though we have parkour and shit, you know, like, can we lean into something that's a little bit more taking your time with stuff, you know what I mean? People want that dopamine. I just don't know. Like, the thing is, when you kind of do a mega bonk structure, right? I don't know if first person is the way to go to do that kind of gameplay. You know what I mean? Like, I think you already set yourself up for failure straight from the get-go with a first person perspective. And I don't know if I want to make a mega bonk game. I'm not trying to make a mega bonk game. I want to make a game that has almost like, it's funny because that's like my old kind of pitch, like more Jedi Knight kind of style stuff, and being able to do like fun physics-based stuff, albeit that is a little bit more in the scopy side. Like, that might end up being very scopy. And doing the dark and darker structure fits that bill a lot more. It has a progression element to it while still kind of leaning into that kind of dark messiah, might and magic kind of thing. But the problem is, how do we design that to be interesting while not being PvP? Would it work well in a PvE situation? After 50 runs, I find the super ADHD effect stuff gets boring. Yeah, it can kind of like, it's almost like it gives you a headache at some point, you know what I mean? Like, it turns your brain into mush. You know what I mean? It kind of turns your brain to mush. You turn into like mashed potatoes, you know? Yes, I was one solid potato, but now I'm... Yeah. Just gotta level up your ADHD and watch more TikToks. God, that shit needs to get banned. That shit needs to be banned. It's not good. It's not good. After 50 runs, you can't refund. I'd count that as a win. Okay, hot take. People, like, okay. Here's the thing. People do abuse the refund system. But I also think when someone can't refund a game that they clearly just don't like anymore, I don't know, though. If someone just, I don't know. It's such a rocky fucking subject. But I don't want to make a game longer just so somebody can't refund it. Because, you know, I don't think... You should make a game longer and provide more entertainment. Not because you don't want them to refund it, but you want them to keep their interest so that they feel like they actually invested their money in something that they actually care about, not something they just paid for and now they can't, like, get rid of. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that, I don't know how to... It's not like those 50 runs that just lost my interest after. Right. If you did 50 runs of a game and you didn't like what you were doing, I don't know what the hell, what kind of fucking Stockholm syndrome did you somehow put yourself into? What kind of Stockholm syndrome did you put yourself into to the point where, you know what I mean? It'll get good after this run. Surely after this run, it'll be fun, right, guys? You could lean into something similar to the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, just have procedural dungeons, and you have completed missions in the dungeons for some type of adventure guild progression. I think that's kind of what we're leaning into. If we do like 8 floors or 5 floors, you have to kind of go through. But then how do we do the extraction element? Do we make it so it's like, hey, as a player, you can choose to, instead of progressing to the next floor, you can leave, but then you have to redo then you have to redo the entire tower? Or do we make it so you can continue at that point of the tower? How about first-person Warframe? Nah, Warframe, from a design standpoint, is pretty fast-paced, and I don't really know if I want to make like a really fast-paced game. Like we could, but I know you don't want Megabot, but I love the fact that you could stay during the final waves thing until you couldn't anymore in the dip. I do like that. I just don't know if that's our game, you know? I do like that. You know, that's cool. There's a little bit of like a grinding aspect and a little bit of risk, right? Because it's like you could die at any moment. I don't know. Is there a first-person game that feels good playing in Melee? Dark and Darker. Dying Light. Chivalry, yeah. Mordhau, which is like Chivalry. But the thing is, those are PvP. So thinking of PvE games that are in first person. Killing Floor 2? Oh, Killing Floor 2 I think leans more into to guns, like gun weapons. Mirror's Edge. Yeah, but I wouldn't say Mirror's Edge is focused on melee. If anything, people actually fucking hated the melee, from what I remember. It was put in because one of the directors wanted to make it more market-friendly. Dead Island 2, yeah, there's another one. Sure, I probably, you know, you got the Elder Scrolls games. Which for some reason people really, really like, you know. You got the Elder Scrolls games. Oh, someone mentioned Absalom. Absalom. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's got a bit of... Okay. Very interesting, very interesting, very interesting. How many developers are over here, man? Supermonks, Dotemu. Who's Dotemu? Dotemu also made Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Metal Slug Tactics. Okay, seems more like a kind of publisher, big studio kind of thing. I don't know. That's a lot of games. Twinkle Star Sprites. '97? That's when I was born. What the fuck is this? What the hell is that? Uh-huh. Interesting. I'm definitely looking at Killing Floor 2's melee system sometimes, though. It's quite complex. It's definitely one of my favorites. I feel like you're a bit early days at the moment to try to work this stuff out. Yeah, but also no. I feel like it's pretty important that we kind of try to come up with that, because that could dictate some of the core gameplay loop stuff. If I start doing the core gameplay loop stuff and then I come up with like which direction I want to take it, there might be a lot of work I'd have to do to match up the work that I do now, and I don't want to like... And ideally, I'd like to have like a prototype like ASAP, you know, to start getting people to play it too. And I'd want like those elements to be there as well. Guys, Mick Gordon's best song he's ever made is Absalom. Oh, did Mick Gordon work on some of the Absalom OST? That's interesting. Oh yeah, I think I've heard it actually. Now I think about it. I think he posted it up on YouTube or something, or maybe Spotify. Now that I think about it. To be brutally honest, I think you're overthinking this way too much for how early on this game is. You could say that about literally any aspect. I like to overthink about the combat, because I think like thinking about how the combat is going to be structured is good. Like the thing is, like whatever gameplay structure I go with right now, like think about this. If I go the item structure, I'd have to change up all of our combat here to fit that kind of structure. I think it's good to plan a little bit ahead of time. Otherwise, I'm kind of just developing for the sake of developing without actually knowing what the core experience I'm trying to aim for is. And I think that could be like really problematic. I think that could end up in like a world of hurt where we end up in a circle without any sort of design like direction. And that's why I'm trying to think, okay, how can we decide on something now? Raven's Watch? Raven's Watch. Like, I think it's good to take a little step back and not work on the game blindly. This looks cool. This looks very cool, man. Very cool. Okay, so this leans kind of like in the Hades direction, where you have spells and then you gain upgrades for those, it seems like. Yeah, it kind of leans in that direction. Yeah, I think by pushing this off later on and just constantly pushing what your design and experience of the game is going to be, you just end up in a big fucking circle, and then you end up in development hell, which is what Suit for Hire kind of ended up going into. Albeit, there was a lot of moments where I was kind of just like procrastinating, but I was procrastinating because I didn't know what I wanted to kind of, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do from a design standpoint. I didn't know what the overall experience was, and I kind of started shifting the design last minute. It went from an arcade game to more of a simulator game. So, and that just made the development take way longer, because I had to, like, you know, I'd rather try to come up with a bit of an idea of what I want to do. At least if it's like, I'm not even saying we're going to flesh out the details of these. I just kind of want to go in a direction. That's it. And it comes down to like, okay, which one do I want to pick? What game structure seems more enticing and fun to me, and that I think would work well? And how do we design the game in such a way that works around that? What decisions might we make in the future? I'm not thinking like details like, yeah, so I'm thinking like the sword would be like +5 damage, and you know, I'm not thinking about those details. I don't give a shit about those details, but yeah, because I could put in the things like the strong attacks right now. I could put the things in stamina right now and whatnot. But there comes a point in time where it's like, okay, I got to start working on the spells. I got to start working on those things. But the problem is, where's the core game? I think we need to start working on that soon. Like, going up the tower and shit like that. Yeah, hard to port. I'm probably going to be using Gaz. A little bit of Gaz. A little bit of Gaz. Yeah, I think my core problem right now with the game is I'm adding stuff in, but I don't actually know what I want the experience to be. That's why I'm kind of thinking about it. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want the core experience to be. I'm like, I'm battling with a bunch of different directions. So that's why I'm trying to think of this now. Because then I can actually like make decisions that lean towards the overall experience and fantasy that I want the player to kind of start like having. The core is the combat right now, right? So how the level structure works and progression works isn't all that important for the moment. Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. I think a good game is a culmination of all those elements. I think having good combat, while it's good, I don't think is enough to like be enticing enough. But yes. But then the thing is like when you level stuff up, that would impact your gameplay and your combat. PS1 update? Wait, hold excuse me? I have some good research guys if you would like them ever. Post them up on the Discord if you're in there, hard to port. Post up in hashtag game dev. Develop stuff to run natively on PS1. It's really cool. God damn. I think you should make your games the way you want to make them. The thing is, if I make games the way I want to make them, they'd take years and years and years and years. We could go down the path of 100 floors, Souls-like structure, you know, shortcuts and shit where you can start unlocking shortcuts. Becomes kind of Souls-like-y in that respect, or Metroidvania-esque. You know what I mean? I think you wanted this to be fun and quick. See, that's another thing I want to take into account is I do want this to be, yeah, fun and quick, but I want it to sell as well. You know, like a game's going to take me minimum a year to make. It's not going to take less. There's so many things that need to be done. I don't think like, well, there's games that have released that have taken shorter time, but yeah, I think I would participate in Steam Next Fest. When is Steam Next Fest? Do they have a or well, it's right now, but when's the next one? Is there a schedule of Next Fests? Steam Next Fest schedule. Official dates for the first half of 2025 Steam sales and fests. Upcoming Steam events. (2026) Next Fest is from February 23rd to March 2nd. Ain't no way would I be able to fucking reach that date, man. For demo. Well, maybe. No, I don't know if it'd be like... No, I think by then we'll have like block out art. I think we'd have block out art by then, which I don't know if I'd want to put that in a Next Fest. If you wake up earlier, you can. What? What? I do think from a scope standpoint, while the Dark and Darker seems like a very interesting way of going about it, I actually think our best structure is a no item structure. But then the problem, we lose out on the entire roguelite element of like becoming more powerful, and instead it's just you're permanently upgrading your character over time. But then what's the point? I don't know. I just don't know if I like that. That's my problem right now. I don't know if I like that. I know it would be easier because I wouldn't have to deal with stuff that much. But then I don't know if I like that. The look into Death Must Die. Death Must Die does the Vampire Survivor structure, right? If I remember correctly. They have items you find in runs that give you stats and meta progression for your skills. How does the item structure in Death Must Die, how does it work? It's kind of like Extraction-esque, isn't it? Isn't there like literally an inventory almost? Yeah. Yeah. Do you keep those items permanently if you die? Does you find time for Crimson's Fantasy? No. If you die, do you lose any items? No. Oh, you just keep them. So death doesn't have like... Not in this, at least. Let It Die? Is that a different game? Let It Die? Let It Die. What the hell is this? From 2018. Yes. Can't read any of it. That game makes you pay for more lives? Does it actually? Does it actually? I'm seeing some items here called 10 death medals. One chance per person. You can use these 10 death medal to continue your game after you die and expand your storage among other things. Oh my god. Oh my god. Criminal, your game have death medals, microtransactions? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Right, so this game has, if I remember correctly, it has the permanent progression element of items. But then when you die, you lose these, I guess, weapon upgrade stuff, I suppose? Weapon upgrades? Yep, Duck. What's your game idea so far? I have a little bit of a general concept. I'm not sure if I'm 100% happy with it yet. Different characters have different amounts of available slots, like the druid will have 5 summon slots, 1 strike slot, etc. Interesting, interesting. If you die, you have to go back and fight your character to get your stuff back, but if they kill you, it's gone forever? Oh my god. I don't know. No, I definitely want to stick with just like classes, like different abilities that you can choose. And then like you kind of come up with your build per se, I guess. I had a random idea. I had an idea pop in my head. I don't know if I like the idea though. I had the idea where you have a skill tree and it first starts out as unlocking things with gold, but then as you progress further, you have to unlock things with like minerals and whatnot. And different types of like rare items that might appear in later floors. Or I guess in the sense like as you get stronger or whatever. But then the thing is then we start leaning into more permanent upgrade realm. But maybe we make it so in the skill tree, you can only select specific, like a specific amount of slots. And then maybe you like can upgrade them over time. But then the thing is we don't have overall, like we don't have progression as you play the game. Unless we do like a temporary level up system that gives you like stat upgrades or some shit. You know, we could do something like that. You like level up in a run. Very mega bonk pilled. Gold is a mineral? I know it's a mineral, okay? Listen. I mean other minerals, like different types of materials. The first person roguelite? Yeah, at its core, currently, all I know is at its core, it's a first person roguelite. Have I seen Mortal Sin? I have, but... yeah. I just briefly looked at it. Because my eyeballs started burning at one point, probably. Yeah, I would need an inventory. Depending on what I do, I would need some sort of inventory, which is kind of like... which I would prefer not having an inventory, you know, if we can make do, because I think no matter what we do, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm lost. You know, I could come up with fun gameplay, but then, like, where do we go from there? I'm a little lost. I don't really know what I want to do. I don't know what I want the overall experience to be. Why do I miss watching you fix bugs in Superfire? Fuck it, just mix them all together. Well, that was kind of the idea with the dark and darker structure a little bit. It's a cool song. Put that on the liked songs list. It is Klaus. I'm using it as a base. Because a lot of the code in here was some shit that I made a long time ago. Will there be a ton of enemies at once? No, probably not. They're probably going to be more so spaced out. So we're not going to be seeing like hordes of enemies, kind of like Mega Bonk or whatever. You know, like we're definitely not going to do that. Because I just don't think that works very well in a. Well, it could, but I just don't know if it would work well for this. So I want the combat to be a little bit more methodical, I guess. Do you think it needs a gimmick? I don't think games need a gimmick. It just needs to be fun and goes towards an overall big picture or an experience. I think that's what it needs. Not a gimmick. I just think the experience needs to be not confusing and leans into a direction and is not trying to be everything at once. How did I make my climbing mechanic? It's probably like a line trace, reaching the top, seeing, you know, how far or whatever. That's probably how it's doing it. Like a line trace, and then there's like a timeline to climb it. I'm thinking that's probably how it's done. I don't know. It was a long time since I coded that. What's my end goal with this? Release video game, become millionaire? I don't know. I actually have no idea. That's what we're trying to figure out from a game design standpoint. Do I think I'm going to stick to 427 with it? It's already in 5... which version are we on? 5.6? You're already a millionaire? I'm not a millionaire! We are on 5.6 already. You greasy bastard. You know what? Don't even fix that. You meant to say greasy, you motherfucker. Have I looked into the first person renderer? I have not. I probably won't use it. I can't trust Unreal to fucking fix stuff. All right, open up Paint. Or open up something. What do I open? Paint? Paint. Open Paint. What other things other than Paint? Do I still have Mischief on this computer? The thing that like, oh yeah, no, that software is just fucking gone. That sucks. Okay. Haven't been around for a bit. What happened to that top-down kind of shooty gamey you were deving? It's like almost done. I just have a few more updates we need to bring out. All right. Fill the background with black. You know what to do. Okay. What? Brush? What? How does what? I can't paint. I can't paint. Oh, now I can paint. What? Okay, hear me out. All right. We do 5 floors. Okay, 5 floors instead of whatever fucking concept I was trying to do before, which means we'd have 5 random. Hold on, I'm trying to type. No, not floors. Floors? No, not. Oh, God, this is falling apart. No, floor. Oh, it's a black background. Oh, man, how the fuck does this motherfucker use... Oh, son of a... Floors. Floors. All right, floors. Don't mind those 2 pixels. Floors. 5 random... That's black. Bosses. All right. We could do 5 random bosses in the floors. Why am I on a pirate stream? You're not on a pirate stream. If you were on a pirate stream, we'd be talking about something stupid like the industry and, well, I've been working 8 years in Blizzard, fucking blah, 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 8 years in Blizzard, and blah, blah, blah. No, what we're talking about is some game design stuff, all right, motherfucker? All right, it's a little different. It's a little different. No one gives a fuck what the state of the industry is. Anyways, moving on. Oh, shit. All right, 5 floors, and then we can have 5 random bosses within that. And then we can... Maybe a choice to leave after each boss. Yeah, so if we do the extraction structure, we can make it so... no, that would be after the floor. After... I don't want to type that much. Hold on. Is there a text in here? After defeating the boss, the player can choose to leave to save their equipment. Now, this is an option if we choose to do that. If we go down the equipment path, you have watch streaks now? That's cringe. Who has the largest watch streak? Who has the largest watch streak? After defeating the boss, the player can choose to leave to save their equipment. The problem is, do I want equipment? That sounds like scope. I'm going to be honest, guys. We should make an executive decision to destroy equipment. I know it sucks, but we should make an executive decision, no inventory. Unless it's like minerals and stuff. And then at that point, we could just have like icons at the top or something. We could do it that way instead. So no equipment. Equipment, gone. Equipment, fuck you, equipment. Strike through. So no equipment. No equipment. First rule, no equipment. Okay? Maybe minerals. Maybe minerals. Or use minerals or something for some kind of rune tree. That would be the idea, is you would use minerals or like gold in the beginning and then minerals that get like more rare as you go on to like gain access to further beyond the skill tree or rune tree or whatever we want to call it. And then that would provide like different kinds of upgrades, kind of in the realm of Path of Exile almost. Okay, so there's an idea for, I guess, permanent upgrades is things like minerals. Instead. No equipment, make it red. But yes, minerals, make it green. Hey, Woozy. Am I a geologist now? I don't know what that is. Do they do research on rocks and shit? Would I consider risk array items as equipment? I wouldn't consider those as items. Whereas equipment would be things like you choosing like your chest piece, your boots, your stuff like that. Whereas Risk of Rain I would see as like item buffs, kind of. That's the difference I would make there. So if we say no equipment, we say no to an inventory system instead. Because that would just be too much scope. They do stuff with the minerals? Oh, I'm a geologist then now. No items then? So we have a permanent upgrade system in mind here. Here, Jay. What is the temporary upgrade system? Because I think in a game like this, we do need some element of like you in the run gaining powers within the run, and then that makes it different. I would ideally want to make it so... What sort of things do we want to upgrade in the run and be lost on death? That's the thing. What do we want lost on death? So we'll say LOD, lost on death. I'm not writing it down. Everything is now acronyms. LOD, not LOP, not LOB. Hold on. God, how the fuck could someone do this all day on their stream, man? I don't know how they do it. How do you... So what things would we have lost on death? Sword and bow? Yes, sword and bow. So the design that I've 100% I think am like, okay, this is how it is abilities and spells you would unlock different types over time. And that would be like your permanent like loadout. Your loadout is what you select before going into a run, and that would be what kind of melee weapon you have and what kind of ranged weapon you have, and then your spells. So that I think I've decided to be like, okay, that's going to be the structure there. So if you have like a fireball spell, it's pretty basic until maybe, I guess, the mineral starts unlocking different things in your skill tree, and then maybe you find like a pathway that does a lot more like fire-based stuff, for example, or something. Yeah, some upgrades could be like dashes on the skill tree, perhaps. Maybe the enemies have elements, kill fire dude and your sword starts burning, etc. Rock, paper, and scissors style. I think that would be cool to have different like weaknesses for the enemies. And that was an idea that we had earlier in the stream. We were talking about this concept of like every day the seed is different for all players. I don't know if we would do that here. It would be cool. And maybe we could do that as a separate mode. Someone did also mention that. That could be like the daily tower or the daily whatever the fuck. But I think we would just randomize everything. What would be the LOD stuff? Tomes. Like, I don't know if they'd be items. Like, I guess they could be items. Do we go down the Risk of Rain path with items? If I looked at Gunfire Reborn, I've looked at it a little bit, but I don't know if that's kind of like the direction that I want to lean into. How does Gunfire Reborn do upgrades? It does it through like your equipment, right? It does it through equipment, does it not? What's the theme of the game? It's like magical fantasy, dark fantasy kind of vibe. Not really equipment, it's just you get upgrade tomes that do shit. They do tomes? Let me see how that looks, just because I'm curious. Gunfire Reborn. Let's see. Please show me a screenshot of this tome system. Please! Please! I hate how the screenshot sizes change. I don't care about your loading screens. What? Gunfire Reborn tomes. Let me see if I can find an image of this. Okay, I'm finding nothing. Gunfire Reborn upgrades. But they're like weapon upgrades, if I remember correctly. Are there actual like... Oh, there seems to be a talent tree. I see. There's a talent tree. Hmm. Okay. Occult scrolls. That's how it works. Interesting. To gain passive effects. So these are basically like items, essentially. In a sense. Yeah. You get them or you don't. Right, of course. Right. What kind of art style do you prefer? Is that something more like dark tone Borderlands? I don't really know what kind of art style we're going to go for. One thing I'd like to maybe experiment with is an art style that leans a lot more into diffuse values and whatnot, rather than relying on like roughness values and stuff like that. I'd be curious to see if that like we could come up with something interesting there. I don't know yet. I kind of like the idea of like a PoE style skill tree. But then the problem is like you permanently upgrade your like skill tree and then that might get boring for new runs. It might have guns. I'm not sure yet, Zen. Like there are some old ideas in here for the secondary weapon did involve things like revolvers and other types of weapons. Multiple characters each with their own skill tree. I think it would just be one big skill tree. I think. I don't know if I would do different character types. So we know for certain, I don't think we want to do equipment, as in like inventory. No inventory. Plus no inventory. I don't want to have to design an inventory if I can. We can instead do minerals, which are much more straightforward to kind of design. It's kind of like a soft inventory, but not an inventory that the player has to manage, right? Look at Lens Island inventory. Oh yeah. One large skill tree. Are you talking Path of Exile? Yeah, man. Path of Exile skill tree. We could just... Maybe not that big. It's Path of Exile is a bit too big, okay? Maybe not like that big, but, you know, something cool that gives the player different options and different play styles. That would be, ideally, the goal is different play styles. Something else I thought it was cool was Megabonk was the fact you could opt into harder runs. I think that would be sick as well. I think so. I think that would be sick. But that would, so that is where I would agree with Bane. When it comes to stuff like cursing your run, that would be design stuff that we could do like later on that we don't need to think about right now. These elements I think are really core to like what the game is trying to be. And yeah. Oh, Lens Island is all just resources? Right. It would probably be something a little bit like this, I guess, then. Is like resources. Then we got better fishing and mining, wood cutting. Then you gotta upgrade your equipment there, and and then it's like dungeoneering from. You know, we could lean in that direction. I say that as a joke, but like. You got to level up your mining to 99. Skills are always cool as passive little bluffs, to be honest. People love that shit. It could, hey, dark and dark, it could. We're one little step away from making RuneScape, the dungeoneering skill. Have you seen RoboQuest as a gameplay reference? It has a main hub, roguelite runs, and small maps with random guns and enemies. Is RoboQuest the game that I'm thinking of? Or am I thinking of a different game? RoboQuest. Oh no, this is the different game that I was thinking of. I don't know why when I think of RoboQuest, I think of that one really old game where you could like build a robot and it was like PvP. I remember seeing this game. I remember seeing someone playing it or streaming it like a long time ago though. It's been long time ago is apparently 2023. This game was in early access, right? We could lock rare minerals behind requiring higher level mining equipment. But I don't know about that. I don't know. That might be like a later on thing we think about. Oh, it says 2-player co-op. Yeah, I don't want to touch multiplayer at all. I think one rule I would have is like this is just full-on single player, because I want the next game to have multiplayer, and like multiplayer and networking on its own is already a challenge in and of itself, unfortunately. But as a developer, I would love to work towards being able to do multiplayer. I think that'd be sick. I want to level up my skills too. Hey, I've been hard stuck level 30 game dev or level 15. Okay, I've been using a mithril axe. Shit's fucked, man. Been cutting down oaks as a game developer. That's all I've been doing, cutting oaks. So Deep Rock Galactic, but just regular dwarves? Well, no, but yeah, no, yeah, no, but yeah, no. No, but yeah, you know, no, yeah, no. Yeah, but no. Passive skill tree? Oh, dude, think about it. You, in the skill tree, you can work towards increasing the mining, and then you can get higher tiers mining. But if you don't select that skill point and you removed it to increase the tier of mining, then you can't mine it in a run, and then you lose out on mining. Or maybe you mined all the minerals that you needed, and so you remove that skill point for that mining tier. Okay, no, this is stupid. This is dumb. Everybody shut up. Everybody shut up. I hate this game design. Everybody stop talking. I thought this game was going to be as simple as Devil Daggers, I can't lie. Yeah. Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? You're bold for attempting this ideation stage on stream? Yeah, I am. It's true. No, we're not going to do a Lens Island inventory. Why are we calling it the Lens Island inventory? What would this again? Level of detail? No, wait. Oh, shit. I don't even remember what the acronym was. I should have wrote the entire thing out. I'm so stupid. What is it? LOD? Lost on Death. Ah, yes. Lost on... Thank you, chat. You guys... See, that's why you guys are here. Thank you. And also to give me your $5. Okay, Lost on Death. What did we get Lost on Death? Why do I think of Mega Bonk, man? I just keep thinking of Mega Bonk. Someone hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat. You saying we should Mega Bonk you?
Shit my pants, I did.
Payne, thank you for the tier 1. Thank you for the gifted sub. Okay. I'm like thinking in my head, maybe we just go down the Risk of Rain path. I've decided to go for 75 woodcutting on the side. Do you mean that as a joke, or are you actually getting 75 woodcutting right now? You find and equip weapons on the run. No equipment. No equipment. No inventory. We've decided as a rule, the game will have no equipment, no inventory in the design. Which also happens to be the Mega Bonk path. Yes, I know. We're going down the Mega Bonk path. Wait, Desert Treasure 1 requires 75 woodcutting? Oh, is it because of the magic logs? Error. There's only 2 weapons in the game. Currently, yes. But ideally, what I would do is you have a loadout that you could change your loadout. I did Hunter's Rumors for that. We wanted to do that, and then it's like rare as balls to get them. I think we were thinking of doing Wintertodd for them, but that's also rare as balls. How do you get the weapons? Probably, yeah, either achievements or something else. I don't know. That's something we can figure out later on. I don't know. I think I think one thing we scale down is we do 5 big floors where you have to explore to find the teleporter to go to the next floor. Very Risk of Rain pilled rather than 100 floors. I think we scoped that out. We scoped that entire aspect of 100 floors. That's too much, man. That's just too much. With the whole shortcut system, just cut that shit out. Just cut it all out. 5 floors. Player goes through the 5 floors. They're all different randomized themes with a randomized boss at the end. Just go with that. Very, very Risk of Rain pilled. I think that's what we do there. Bro's making our Fortnite tower. No, it's not a literal tower. It's a thematic. It's not a real tower. It's not an actual tower. It's not real. It's not an actual tower. It's like you're just working your way up in different themes. Just, whatever, man. Just Don't talk to me. Shut up. Soul Wars? I guess we could do Soul Wars. I thought there'd be a tower. No, there's not an actual tower. It's an euphemism. Yes, it's an euphemism. Euphemism? Euphemism. Euphemism. Just like my game design structure. Euphemism. So 5 floors. I think that's the way to go. 5 floors. We could do the risk of range structure where the longer you take, the stronger the enemies become. I like that. That could work. But I think we need items. Let's call it 7.5. What are you trying to do? Huh? What are you trying to do? You trying to sell me on this and like bid higher? Why are you bidding higher? You're supposed to bid lower. Oh, I guess you would bid higher. Okay, never mind. Negotiating? Okay. I am kind of leaning in the risk of rain item structure. But maybe that's not a good idea. Ah, fuck. I don't know. Maybe we just don't do any of that. Maybe we just do permanent progression. But then you become too powerful. And then we're in a big world of hurt. Items that echo stuff is the way for the roguelikes personally. Yeah, maybe we just do the item structure. Here's what I'm picturing. You level up in a run by killing enemies, maybe doing certain things. Maybe there's other things that you can get that give you a little bit of XP. And then that is a different level up structure that gives you, oh guys, very Mega Bonk pilled. Okay, Mega Bonk pilled. It gives you 3 options of different stats to just upgrade right there and then there. And then we have items. Or maybe we just do items. Pick 3 system. It's not a video game if it doesn't have a pick 3 system. Big brain, make more money and turn this into a Udemy course too. I'd rather fuck education. I'm not getting in that space. I ain't getting into that space. I don't want to. After seeing how people treat the educational space, it just makes me not want to be educational at all. Okay, hear me out, kind of crazy, a pick 4 system? No, hear me out. It's a pick 2 system, but then in the skill tree, you can unlock a pick 3 system. Slowly gets closer to the microphone and screen because his chair is for some reason slowly backing up now. I'm backing up. I'm exerting more weight on the back of my chair. See you later. You don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. For all I know, the chair could be broken. Nope. Dead Link, but more melee? I guess so. How does Dead Link do stuff? Gets closer to the microphone to hit the vibration button for his dog. Activates shock collar. Activate shock collar. Bad meme. By the way, fuck that guy. Anyways. We've been staring at this black and white screen for a while now. I really am starting to feel like a certain streamer. Okay, I like the idea of leveling up. And then that gives you just raw stat increases. Raw with an A. Raw stats. I guess. Sounds like we're making first-person Mega Bonk. No. We're not going to make it that crazy, okay? Don't get it twisted, all right? Don't turn into a strudel, all right, motherfucker? And then the level resets on death? Yes, the level would reset on death. And then we have Risk of Rain style items. These would provide maybe raw stats, but also maybe some different stuff. But we want to make it like not too crazy, I think. So we're going back to what I was kind of like thinking from a design standpoint. Yes, it's a mini bonk. Methodical bonk. Method bonk. We're just back to the start. Well, no, no, that's not true. The start was having 100 floors. All right. Now we're down to 5 floors, which sounds much more reasonable. 5 floors that you go through. Large kind of open, well, open-ish spaces. And then we have the concept of minerals and maybe a skill tree. Perhaps. Maybe. Now, I think, ideally, we should probably get started on concepting this like this week. So what we're leaning into is the Risk of Rain item structure, which is what I kind of wanted to do, but I was like really iffy about it because I don't know how I felt about it. We can balance, I think, the Risk of Rain items to not be as crazy. What the hell? What the fuck is going on? What the hell is going on? Help? What's going... Guys, what the... Oh, I'm okay. Wait, hold on. Let's make a list of things that we don't want to do. It's like a anti-scope list. What would you call that? What would that be called? What would you call that? An anti-scope list. Yeah, Bill. I think it would be things that are connected to the... There'd be certain things that I think I wouldn't mind, like going a little crazy on. I wouldn't mind it. But I think generally we'd want to make the items a little bit more grounded. Now, am I going to have a nutrition system, the ability or need to pee? What do you think this is? Scum? Avoid list? Sure. Avoid list. The do not make list. The descope list. The do not list. Equipment / inventory. No equipment. No inventory. No 100 floors. No equipment, no inventory, no 100 floors. No multiplayer. No piss. No piss. We don't want piss. No pissing. No equipment, no inventory, no 100 floors, no multiplayer, no piss, no going crazy giga mega bonk mode, no classes. I don't really want classes. I don't care for it. At this point, just add nothing to the game? Hey, that's not true! Come on! Come on, maybe a little bit of piss? No piss! No pissing! It's on the list! It's on the do not list! Respect the do not list. The donut list. The donut list. What the fuck is the game then? It's the no going crazy giga mega bonk mode game. It's, listen. If you think about it, this game is an action roguelite combined with a, you know those like dopamine clicking games where you like upgrade a skill tree and it goes fucking crazy mode. The game is kind of like that, but you can't unlock literally everything in the skill tree. You only select the specific things on the skill tree at certain moments. What meta progression will there be? Chat, can I get a definition on meta progression? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Just make a title screen with a sick-ass real-time demo playing behind it, but then when you hit start game, it fades to black and then just fades back into the title screen. Yeah. Oh, permanent progression. Yeah, permanent progression would be the unlocking the primary weapons, secondary weapon abilities and spells, and then the skill, the perk tree or the boon tree, the rune tree, the tree. It's a tree. You water the tree. It sounds like something. It sounds like we're getting somewhere. Okay, so we got no equipment, no inventory, no 100 floors, no multiplayer, no piss, no going crazy gigabug mega bonk mode, no classes. No piss could be changed at any moment in time. I don't know. No top down, no third person, no. Okay, we don't have to go that far. Okay, you don't need to go that far. No piss implies there is no poo. We don't need to write no poo. Someone should make a game where the whole game is trying to actually open the game. That'd be crazy. So you try to open the game and the desktop icon moves somewhere else. Like, what the fuck? Like the main menu and settings have to be perfect and there's little hints, then you get into another menu. It sounds like you should call the game Enter the Game. Enter the game. Enter the game, Jun. But then once they enter the game, what's the game? Does it just restart the main menu? Because that is the game. The game is the game that you're trying to enter that is not actually a game, but in reality, the game is you trying to enter the game. So when you actually end up entering the game, it just restarts the game. Because you were playing the game the entire time. Okay, I think we're just going to go down the Risk of Rain path. Fuck it. It's just the items are not going to be crazy, like, you know, bonkers, insanity bonkers. You know what I mean? Please do something? Oh, yeah? Watch this. Yeah, would you... What do you think about that? You deserved it? You guys give me 5 push-ups. It's about the journey, not the destination. After 4 hours of figuring out crazy menus. When the person tries to click the turn off motion blur button in the settings menu, it turns itself back on. The whole video game is just a big puzzle. Done? Anything else? Another 5 push-ups. Take that. Enter doorway, go out of doorway. Go to a grocery store, pick up bacon, cook bacon. Then go back to grocery store. Forget eggs, buy eggs. Bring back. Find out eggs expired. Not good. Go back, buy more eggs. Start a 30-minute talk with the customer service to return eggs. Even though in those 30 minutes you probably could have done literally anything else. Waste an hour returning $4 eggs. This is a whole ass story. Okay. Okay, so the player must go through 5 floors. Each floor being a different realm / theme. The player must go through 5 floors, each floor being a different realm / theme. Can proceed to the next floor by activating a teleporter, a boss, a button. Found somewhere on the floor, on the map. Almost midnight. Do you think supermarkets are still open? Well, I don't, just open the door, man. I don't know what to tell you. Got a Missouri mask from TOA yesterday and an Aram skirt from One Barrel Stretch from my main yesterday. By the way, it's the fast food. It's getting to his luck somehow. The player must go through 5 floors, each floor being a different realm / theme. The player can proceed to the next floor by activating a button found somewhere on the map. Is there going to be a final boss, or do I just say fuck that, and the final boss is like just the normal boss at the 5th floor? I don't want to pull a Risk of Rain and have a whole ass fucking final boss that you got to beat. You know, that's just that's a lot. That's a lot of work. Do you want the levels to have a sense of dread to them, where you're time limited? They could help the scope too, or just progress how you want to. I'm thinking we'll go down the Risk of Rain path and make it so it's like as time goes on, the enemies get harder, but not necessarily like the timer is like you die at the 25-minute mark or something. Like the idea of mining minerals at the beginning of a level when enemies are slow at spawning in, like a Risk of Rain level. That might be just a whole ass different game, Duck. Unless we do that whole concept of mining minerals as like the type of stuff that you, you know, the minerals that we use as like the permanent progression stuff, like I guess, but. Supermarket closes, open the door. Well, the door's right there. You can open it. It's just closed currently. You just got to open it. You just got to open the door. It's locked. Unlock the door. I don't know. Don't do that. Having stuff in the level that you collect and just hit with your sword isn't a bad idea, but you have to fit with the gameplay. No. Hear me out. You punch the minerals. Where's the line between whole ass different game and Mega Bonk? I think the idea here is that we would still have very methodical gameplay. Like the gameplay I think would still be like methodical. You know? Can you tell how methodical this is currently? We'll, you know, work on it. Huh? You should make the punch do a lot more damage. I think I want to make it so the punching and kicking becomes more powerful by like upgrading it and whatnot. I have a strong attack, like very basis. Like I can hold the punch button and it'll deal more damage. So we have that in. And we'll, you know, balance it as time goes on. We'll balance it as time goes on. It'll do different stuff and whatnot. Yeah. Like I could see, you know, the skill tree having different like build directions, and as you like expand outward, you like find different nodes that might work for your like build or whatever. You know, things like that. And then maybe some items can like lean into it even further. Okay, I think I'm getting a little picture of the game in my head right now. I think. Are they going to be spells? There's going to be abilities and spells, yes. So that would be another thing that we would unlock. And then, of course, the skill tree or the rune tree or whatever would allow you to, like, expand upon your spells, make them maybe more powerful by, like, you know, leaning in certain directions or whatever. Yeah, Kaiser is a new game. New game. Working on the new game. Okay, so I guess we are keeping these things. We'd have items and stats. But then we'd also... let's add a new thing in here. Skill/rune tree. I don't know if I'll call it a rune tree, but... Permanent economy? Permanent currencies? Satisfying parry/block system. I was picturing a parry/block system being weapon-based. So blocking would be, instead of you having a bow and arrow for your secondary weapon, if you had a shield. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind it being like a general mechanic that could be used over time. Like parry could be good. It could be good. You know what we might do today is we do hitbox weaknesses. So if I hit someone in the head with a bow, it deals more damage. I think we might do that today. Damaging different bones. Okay. People with arachnophobia is going to love this game. We'll just turn them into cats. Like how Satisfactory did it. Yeah, it's so funny. We had all this curve of insanity just to end up going back to my original idea, which is items. Yeah, I guess the one thing we decided upon is instead of the game having 100 floors, you instead just go through 5 floors. Sometimes it's worth to explore those deep thoughts, only to make sure that you come back to your original. Only to make sure that you come back to your original one. No, I think it's. I find it fascinating that some of you guys are railing me for trying to think of this stuff earlier rather than later. Even though you probably do this on a daily basis with your own games too, is thinking about all the elements and whatnot. Everyone rail this guy right now. I'm taken. Fuck off. I just don't want to get into a problem where I'm I just don't want to get into the same problem that I had with Superhire, where I start like going into a circle and like trying to figure out what my overall experience is going to be. Now, maybe we should do that now. What is the experience? Like what could we define as the experience? In a short sentence, what is our goal? Make a lot of money, guys. That's not my goal. I mean the game experience when the player plays the game. Money. What did Jonas Tyroller define as his game's experience? What did he use as his? What did he define as his experience again? It was like defend a castle, right? Build and defend a castle, I think was his design. Build and defend your castle. Build and defend your castle. What would be our equivalent of what we'd want for the player's experience? Please the gods and ascend the tower. Yeah, I don't really know what I would define as the experience for the game. Like, laugh and grow. I like the word ascend. I don't know. That's actually really like, if you were to define a game. Ascend the tower, achieve immense power. It even rhymes. This guy's a fucking, what is this guy? Eminem? Eminem in the chat. Slim Shady. I can't think of how I define mine like that. Gotta go fast. Yeah, yours is just gotta go fast. Ascend as Ascend. Yeah, I guess it's ascend dungeons and become powerful, but that's like really generic. You know what I mean? Doesn't that kind of feel a little generic? So is defend your castle? True, fair enough, fair point. Fair point. Build and defend your castle. It's a pretty, yeah. Ascend to dungeons and become powerful. No 100 floors. I noticed the do not list says no 100 floors, but that doesn't mean 99 floors is out of the idea. Someone shoot that guy. Someone get him out of here. He needs to stop speaking the truth. But we don't want him to speak that. Ascend to dungeons and become powerful. Okay. Now, I don't think that like necessarily defines how you would ascend the dungeons or become powerful. But that being said, I guess build and defend your castle isn't necessarily yeah. I guess that doesn't really define how you play the game. Now, that is like something he did point out in that video is literally just don't focus on the mechanical side of it, focus on the experience, and then you figure out your stuff from there. Or ascend the tower and to become powerful. Build and conquer the tower. Shut up. That's Fortnite. This guy's like, yo, I'm pulling some 90s. Builds a 4-story house mansion. It's got a fucking oven in the corner. He built it in like 3 seconds. Got a nice bookshelf filled in with books and shit. No, the mining thing was just like a funny, stupid, silly idea. I think we'd do minerals in a different way by like, you know, breaking crates and whatever. Maybe we could make it so you mine it, but like that, maybe in the future, I don't know. You know, maybe in the future, Ascend the tower and become powerful. Now, I love Notion because you literally cannot change the text size of anything yourself. Thank you, Notion. Stupid assholes. So I guess we'll just do this. Let's move the, you know what? Move this below the thing. There you go. Now, I hate that space, man. Oh, never mind. And I can't even center this. You know what? Maybe Notion is kind of shit. You know, I'm actually starting to think Notion is kind of just fucking garbage. You know, I think this is shit. I think it's shit. Hear me out. Instead of a... okay, you're like, hold on. All right, let me hear him out. All right, hold on. Instead of a tower, you open doors to randomized dungeons. Oh my god. Okay. And in those dungeons, the biomes are different. Some seem like hell, some seem peaceful, but they all have a horde of enemies. Listen here, punk. I don't know what we're... listen, I just want to do like kind of the risk of range structure where it's like you go from one level to the next level. And then I guess the problem with that is like the levels would have to be relatively like spacious, I guess, to explore enough, right? And I guess this design does mean that we're not doing the idea where it's like every day is a different like run. Unless we do dailies, I guess. Here we are. So would each of the floors be thematically the same? Or would it be like one day or one run you start in the grasslands and then the next one you're in lava land? Or should we make it so lava or some sort of like lava volcanic hell is always like the 4th floor? Is this super higher but medieval? Yes. Start out in hell and work your way up. See, the 100 floors idea is easy because it's like, oh, the themes are the same. You just work your way up. Surefire prequel confirmed. Entirely different game. If AAA can do it, so can we. Okay, so today, I think what we'd like to work on... Keep the paint. Keep the paint. We might need it later. We might need that paint. I want to work on some weak points. That's going to be our development thing for the day. We've been talking about game design for 3 hours. I'm still not 100% sold. We will have this conversation again. Don't you worry. We can hear, but there's this monarch slash noble that is committed an unspeakable sin, has been cursed by the gods to ascend the god tower and plead for his pardon. But when you get to the top, god slash the gods play a number on you and just throw you back down to start again. Hence the roguelike. But if you match some secret conditions, you can unlock the true final boss that maybe is like a demon or something, pretending to be some deity. That would be like the lore aspect, I guess. Originally, when we had the idea of doing the 100 floors thing, so I guess in this case the final boss would be what I'm basically going to mention. I mentioned on this this like a few times on stream before. The idea was because this is kind of like heaven but being taken over by monsters. The managers of heaven, I'll call them managers. The managerial positions got you killed in the mortal realm because you were like the strongest warrior, I guess, in the mortal realm. They killed you so that you could clear heaven for them. But the idea was earlier, if we had the 100 floors, is that in the later floors you start killing the gods of heaven, basically. Almost as like revenge, kind of. So I guess what we could do with the 5 floor concepts is we could make it so the final boss is like one of the randomized gods, I guess. How come the spiders don't climb? Listen, do you think I've gotten that far ahead yet? They didn't kill your dog in this realm, they killed you instead. Yeah. Yeah, they killed mortal you. You know, if I talked about game design for 3 hours with a therapist, I'd be considered disturbed. Well, good thing this isn't a therapy session then, huh? It's a good thing you're not my therapist. I'm sure therapy would define me as requiring an asylum as well. I was talking about myself? Oh. Well, you don't know that. Maybe your therapist might find it interesting. I don't know. Or maybe they won't, and then they'll charge you $300 for that 1 hour session. I don't know. How long is a therapy session? I thought it was like an hour. I guess it's however long it needs to be. I make it feel like 3 hours? Damn, that's deep. Okay, I would like to ideally not, you know, waste any other streams with the design theorizing. I think we came down to, at least, you know, we came down to a few, like, rules, I guess, of things we will not do. No equipment system, no inventory system, not 100 floors, because that might be too much. No multiplayer, obviously. No piss. No piss. This was a hard one. This one saddens me. No going crazy Giga Mega Bonk mode, and no classes. How will I animate the bow? I don't know. Either a skeleton, or we could do like GPU shader stuff. Will there be a toilet? Well, there's no piss, therefore we don't need to have a toilet on the scope. Why would we add a toilet if there's no pissing? No, you do not item, no animations. Yes! Yeah, I really want to lean into like Dark Messiah Might Magic or Dishonored style combat, but with Risk of Rain items system. Can we figure out a way of doing that without like without these elements being what I think that the design problem I have. Okay, so here I'll fill you in on how my brain is structuring this, okay? And why I'm struggling with this. I still want the methodical aspect of Dark Messiah Might and Magic and Dishonored being able to like maybe grab objects and throw it at enemies and stuff like that, but I don't want it to be completely overrun. I don't want it to be completely overrun by the Risk of Rain items that you end up getting, right? I want the Risk of Rain items to almost empower the ability of being able to do these things. Does that make sense? You guys catching what I'm putting down? I would more clearly define inventory. No inventory management. Yeah, you could say having different currencies as an inventory, but like I would consider inventory as like you are interacting with an inventory as like a UI element and whatnot. You want items to not act alone but empower what is already there? Kind of. Kind of. Yes. Maybe offer some stuff there. Yeah, that's how I'm picturing it. I request pissing to be the core mechanic of this game. That's a completely different game. That's a whole ass different game. All right. Have you thought about playing Skyrim? Because that game's fucking piss. I pissed off at least 2 people saying that. Hey, here's a pissing game for you. Have you heard of any Bethesda games? All right, anyways. Gain some more subs with that statement. Do you play Slay the Spire in that game? Some relics are really strong, but most of them are good if you play a lot of cards. I did play Slay the Spire. It's definitely like I love Slay the Spire. I would want the items to be able to allow you to shift your gameplay a little bit. I think that would be cool. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if we do that whole element of being able to like throw objects at enemies and it deals damage, what if like I don't know, one of the items is whenever you pick up an object, it can turn into an explosive. Or something, you know, random idea. Can you capture enemies like Pokemon or Slime Ranger? Probably not. What do you think this is? What do you think this is, huh? I'm not trying to get sued by shitty Pokemon or Nintendo or whatever. Use the enemies as upgrades. I sucked him in. I have now unlocked Fireball. And I'm not talking the alcohol, which tastes like ass. You could try to think about it like, this item is good if you land, hits a lot, throw things a lot. Right, I still want to... So I think the thing is I want the item structure to add fun and make it so you feel like you're getting more powerful. But I don't want it to remove the skill aspect that's associated with the game or the methodical aspect, if I can. I think that's when we... Like, I don't want items that make it so you could, like... fuck shit up, because it's like we're not gonna have that, like we're not gonna do big hordes of enemies like Path of Exile structure where it's like a bunch of enemies, you know what I mean? I don't think we're gonna do things like that. So yeah, do I like items with a positive and negative stat? I think I like that because then it gives you, you know, you think about it more when you're looking at those types of items. It's like, would I do that? Am I okay with a negative that might be associated with it? You know, like deal 25% more damage, but you take 25% more damage, right? Like those things, I think I like those because it's like there's a risk and reward to them. I think I do. I do like positive and negative elements. Because then there's more thought going behind it. You know what I mean? Like you run into a rabid animal and you duct tape them to your sword, IDK. You duct tape a rabid animal. So you're saying like you would walk up to a rabbit and you'd... Ding! What does the rabbit do, man? You now have an increased jump. Oh, what the fuck? All right, we're going to sleep on that. Hey, you're thinking of a completely different game, and you should make that game. You should make that game. You should do that. Anyways, I think we're nailing down at least some rules of what I'd want the game to be, and we're figuring out a bit of a structure. I am still a little bit worried about the scope side of it, but that being said, the thing that's interesting about all of this is the skill/rune tree gameplay ability system. Items, gameplay ability system. Stats, gameplay ability system. So all of these things do force me to learn more of gas. And I'm not talking the thing that comes out of my ass, but there will be lots of that as I work on all this, because this shit is, I'm getting gassy just thinking about it. What's gas? It's a thing that you put in your car. And fuel your car. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We didn't get anything done today, but that's just a classic Pirate Software stream for you. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Probably later in the stream. I'll see you guys probably later in the day because I have a phone call. I don't know when. I forgot when. I'm definitely missing that phone call. Okay, figured out a little bit of the design though. And we at least nailed down, okay, we're not doing 100 floors because that's too much. Yeah. We'll see if I like this idea by tomorrow. I'll sleep on it. If I sleep on it, I'm going to stare at it for the next few hours. All right. Goodbye. See you guys later. I'm going to go eat. I'm really hungry. Enjoy your day. All right. Goodbye. See you later.